Now, if you guys want to learn how to detail your truck or car and make them look like brand new again, I'm going to show you how I do it to a truck that looks like this. This truck has never been cleaned before. It's obviously a worker's truck because it's filled with screws and tons of drywall and everything else in between. I'm going to show you how I'm going to make this thing look like brand new so that way you guys can utilize all of those tips and tricks to make your car and ride clean and stay clean always. Now the first thing we want to do is pressure wash the outside, rinse off any dirt and grime that is loose on the surface or easily removable before we spray on our snow foam, and today we're going to be using the pink snow foam very shortly that you guys love. And for all of you that have been wondering, the pink snow foam was your favorite choice, so be on the lookout for that. This stuff goes on super thick, helps get all that dirt and grime that's sitting on the surface loosened up, removed from the paint, removed from the surface easily before we pull out our wash mitts and finalize the full wash of this vehicle. Before we hand wash this thing, we need to tackle this disaster in the bed of this truck. All of the trim, drywall, cables, nails, screws, everything has to be removed before we pressure wash all that dirt and grime out. Obviously, you don't want to pop a tire. So just using my hands to pick all this stuff up. Then I'm going to be using my shop vac to suck up any of the larger, smaller debris before we pressure wash this thing clean and make it look like new. Now for the outside of the vehicle, we're going to be using our 2-bucket method and our wash mitts to wash the vehicle from top to bottom, because obviously at the bottom of the vehicle is where most of the dirt sits and compared to the top of the truck. That way you're not taking any of that dirt from the bottom, scratching the paint up top. You guys know the drill. For the wheels, I'm using my wheel and tire cleaner that sprays on, turns brown when the dirt getting loosened up and removed. Using all of my different tools to scrub the tire surface to get all that dirt removed, and also my wheel brushes to get inside the spokes, inside those lug nuts, and also inside the wheel well, which is also a commonly missed spot, to make sure it's completely clean and free of dirt. Now the car completely cleaned and washed, we're going to be using our Fox Clean drying towels to dry the entire surface of this truck with this one single towel to make sure it stays free of water spots and locks in that shine that's on the surface of this paint. Now for your favorite part of all details, the interior, which is obviously my specialty, we're going to be pulling out the floor mats, all of the seats, to get a good look at what is underneath them, and here it is. This is the goodness that lies beneath the surface. I mean, you might be able to find some lunch in there if you look closely enough. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm doing these details or doing something super hyper focused and intense, you gotta step away sometimes. And for me, stepping away means picking up my phone, playing a game, reading an article or something. But lately, I've been playing a game called Raid Shadow Legends. One, because it's completely off topic of detail and when I'm in the zone like I am when I'm doing these videos. And it's a AAA quality game in terms of graphical. It reminds me of like the old school RPGs I used to play on PS4 and PS3. But the best part is now, with phones nowadays, you can pretty much dive into the game at any point because you're holding it in your pocket all the time. And for all of you that have played RPGs before, or if you haven't before, get ready because there's different raid bosses, dungeon runs, different campaign battles in PvP, which is peer versus peer arena battles that you can play and explore millions of different champion combinations using different tactics. And those champions are the different characters that you can play in the game. Now I'm going to show you guys some of the champions that I've been using while I've been playing this game for a while. When I'm taking that chill pill from these details, kind of de-stressing a little bit, having a little bit of fun before I jump back into them. And if you guys want to get the strongest support champion in the game, Diliana, enter the promo code MyDiliana. Now I need you guys to join in, hit the link in the description box below or scan that QR code on screen and get a free champion, Virgie's and 200k in silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get into the game. And now back into the detail. Now, for all you newbies to Stauffer Garage crew, I've always said this, you guys all know this, vacuuming is 80% of a detail with 20% of the effort. If you spend that extra time, or if you're just trying to maintain your car or truck, just vacuuming alone will give you 80% of the results of a detail. And if you guys cannot tell from what I'm doing right here, just by vacuuming these certain carpeted areas, taking a little extra time, it pretty much makes the carpets look almost new again. You get 80% of the results. Now, a common question I get is why don't I use a larger head on my vacuum, not one of those larger V-shaped type ones, instead of this tiny little nozzle. I prefer the tiny little nozzle, one, because I don't have to switch back and forth to nooks and crannies, but two, by having that smaller inlet, it causes a larger velocity of air being sucked in by the vacuum, which allows me to remove a lot more dirt, whereas that larger head is kind of a slower velocity and it takes just about the same amount of time as this smaller one. Now when it comes to cabin filters, a lot of cars have them, a lot of them don't, especially pre-2015. This Tundra does, so I wanted to show you guys what this cabin filter looks like when I pull it out. This is all the dirt and grime that gets sucked up into your cabin air filter. Honestly, I don't have extra ones laying around. They're all different between the different types of vehicles, but I went ahead and vacuumed out all of the dirt that I could within those different vanes to remove them before I reinstall it and then tell the owner to replace it. It's really easy. Usually they're right behind the glove box like this one where you just pull down a tab, pull it out, and replace it. So if your vehicle has one, it's definitely something to consider replacing from a smell, odor standpoint, and also just from a dust and dirt standpoint. Now the hidden gem found in this vehicle was a pretend butterfly knife. This one is not sharp at all, so I'm guessing it's a practice one, or maybe they're sold this way and you're supposed to sharpen yourself, but you never know what you find inside these vehicles, and in this case, I found myself a brand new pretend butterfly knife. Okay, so I switched gears a little bit because I thought of this idea. This is mag aluminum polish from Mother's. I love this stuff. I'm going to show you guys this bumper has some corrosion on it and oxidation. It's not chrome anymore. It doesn't look good. You can do it by hand, or if you have a DA polisher or any polisher for that matter. I have an extra spare bunch of pads that are dirty and not used anymore for paint. They were perfect for something like this, and this is what it looks like just within like 20 seconds of going back and forth. Like really, you're not working the polish in at all. It's more or less just covering all of the surfaces and hitting it with the DA. And the side-by-side is insane. These things mirrored up perfectly and looked insane afterwards. Now, for a lot of you guys, the extraction portion of this, my details are your favorite part. Now you will not be disappointed because I am pulling out the Mighty Extractor. We're going to be using the Flex Ice as part of the rinse fluid, and then I'm using BioBreak in my sprayer and my drill brush to agitate all of that dirt and grime loose before hitting it with my extractor. And you can see in these shots, that's not water vapor, that's actual steam, especially in this shot right here. That's steam that comes off this thing because it's a heated extractor. When I upgraded to a Mighty, this was the biggest game changer for me because it melts any, foods for that matter, or oils. It just makes the cleaning process so much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Effective. Yeah, definitely. If you have the money for a Mighty, or if you do more than one car a week, it's a game changer, and they last pretty much forever. That's the best part about them. Now for this under tray, this goes underneath the rear bench and the back seat of this truck, this little cargo tray, pulling it all apart, vacuuming out all the dirt and grime, and then for all the interior plastic panels, I use Mint Shine all-purpose cleaner and my detailing brushes along with extra plush microfiber towels to dry them and remove all that dirt and grime afterwards. But one trick, if you have a wet dry vac, make sure you clean it afterwards because it can get moldy. But if you have, if you're spraying a lot of all-purpose cleaner and you have a lot of excess foamy liquid, all that dirt and grime gets kind of lifted to the surface, use your wet dry vac to suck up majority of it. That way, one, it saves your towels from getting too dirty and grimy, but it speeds up the process a ton because you're not trying to get into all those little grooves and remove everything with your finger. The vacuum takes care of it for you. So, little pro tip there. Now, by far one of the most complicated portions of the vehicle is the dashboard, the steering wheel, the gauges, the switches, the center console, air HVAC, and screen system. This is the most complicated part of the vehicle from a detailing standpoint, but it's probably my favorite. It doesn't seem like it's a lot of work or it's just not that big of a process, but there's so many little its and bits and crannies that for me, this is where I get the most pleasure out of a detail because of the fact that once you're done, it's game changing. I mean, this is what you interface with when you're inside the vehicle the most. You're always, looking at the different parts of the dashboard. So for me, getting this part perfect is probably my favorite part of any detail. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering why I didn't bust out the steam cleaner for this one, and honestly, it comes down to time perspective. Sometimes the steam cleaner takes a little too long. I need to get a new one, actually. That's really what it comes down to. Mine takes a little bit too long to heat up nowadays. It's been used for 3+ years, and it's kind of getting to that end of life point. But a lot of times, you know, it's nice to have a steam cleaner, but when you've cleaned like the dashboard and then you try to do a center console this dirty, that steam cleaner will blast all that dirt up in the air or up onto the other components you've already cleaned. So, you know, it's kind of a process thing, and also just not even a laziness standpoint, but just not even needing it standpoint. So that's kind of why sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. If I had like candy or gum or something solidified in there, that's when that would have really came in handy. But for this one, all that dirt and grime in there wasn't super hard to get out just by using detail brushes and that all-purpose cleaner. And then any remaining stuff that gets stuck in those nook and crannies, I use my compressed air to blow it out. Now, out of all the extractions, this is the best one by far. So for all of you that like the extractions, like I mentioned earlier, get ready. This passenger side footwell was pretty nasty, so get ready for the juiciness. Now, for all of you that are watching that want to do this to your own vehicle, one thing that you can do is go to like Home Depot or go to any store, and a lot of times they have carpet extractors for your home, but they do have removable nozzles for like stairs and smaller portions, and you can rent one of those for the day for I think like 60 bucks. It might even be high. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember what the prices are, but you can rent something if you need to do this to your own vehicle, or if you want to splurge and buy a Mighty. It's obviously a little bit more expensive. You could do your friends and neighbors' cars, then resell it, or just go on Facebook Marketplace and you can find, it's not my favorite, but a Bissell, which is a small type spot extractor. It's not great from a time standpoint because it fills up super fast, but it is an option that you guys can do, and you can find them used for next to nothing. I think when I first started, I started with one and it cost me like 20 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. So something to consider if you guys are looking to clean your own seats, or if you have some stains, is to pick up one of those, or rent one if you want a more powerful unit that's probably going to be more effective to get your carpets cleaned or your seats cleaned. Now I need you guys to make sure you click on this video on screen to go watch it, because this video taught you a bunch about the interior, but in this next video you guys are going to learn about how to polish your paint, remove scratches, ceramic coat, take care of the exterior, but also learn some more tips and tricks, because every car that I detail is different. So continue your detailing journey, learning more, and I will see you guys in that video.